Hi developers, welcome back to Code Step by Step. My name is Anil. In this part of Angular, we will learn that how we can make a service and how we can use it with the multiple components. So guys, if you want to know what is service, why we need it, and some interview questions related to service, then you can watch our previous video. Link is given in the description box. So now let's start with the points of this video. First of all, we will create a service. After that, we will add some data in that service. We also need to make a footer component so that we can use this service in a two components. One is our app component, second one is our footer component. And after creating footer component, we will use this service in as app as well as in the footer component. And at the last, we will discuss some important interview questions. So again, let's just recap the definition of service. So service is basically a class that can have some functions, some data, some properties, and we can use this data or functions and properties in the multiple files. And keep in mind, services are never ever component or module dependent. They are free, they are actually free, and we can use a single service in the multiple modules, in the multiple components. So there is a no boundary for service, and this is the interview question also, right? So now let's start and make our service. So guys, when we make a service, we need basically a terminal. So let's open terminal and create your service. So just simply put here ng g for generate service and service name. Let's say my service name is user data. Whenever you will just hit it, you will find that there is a two files created in your application and they are directly added in your app folder. All right, so I think I just missed something. Now fine. So now you can see that we have a two file in our directly app component. So let's say you need 5 to 6 services. That time there is a lots of file in your that folder. So we never should create services directly in your app folder, right? So let's delete them, and I want to tell you that how you can create them properly. You just need a folder so that you can just keep your old services in a specific folder. So let's say your folder name is services slash and your service name, and hit enter, and now you will find that your service is basically created inside the services folder. Here we go. And whenever you will create services, there will be two files generated. One is for the service, that here you can see that. Second one is for the test this service. And what are the test cases and how we can test it, we will learn this thing in the later on, but for a moment we can just ignore them. So here you can see that we have a simple class, and here we can define the functions, data, properties that we can use in the multiple components. And keep in mind, in services we also call the APIs. So let's say you call APIs, one API, and you need this API in multiple places. That time you will call this service in your service, I mean to say API, call in the services. And let's return, but before return, let's create a function name. Let's say our function name is users, and it will return some data related to users. So let's say name is Peter. After that, let's say Peter age is 29, and again email, let's say Peter email address is peter@test.com, and let's create some more data the same way, the copy and paste, so that we can save time. And again let's create the name Sam@test, and Bruce, and let's create this Bruce email address also. Great, now you can see that our data is ready. So for a moment we have only one component, which is app. So let's create one more component so that we can use this service in the multiple components. So just simply use here ng g for generate, c for service, and our component name, let's say footer, and let's hit it. After that you will find one more folder here, and here we go. Here you can see that now we don't need this terminal, we can close it. And let's use this footer component in our app component as a footer. So let me add it a footer, which it will be a app footer. Sorry guys, sometime autocorrect uh, sucks. Footer, and we can close it, and now you will find that this is working fine, but this is not look like a footer. So what we can do here, let's go to that footer HTML file, remove this p tag, create h1, and just write here footer, and around it let's create a div, and let's put this div name, let's say its name is footer class. Let's define this the class to this footer, and let's add some style with that. So to add the style, what I'm just going to do here, I'm going to in the dev tool, and let's simply add here color. It will be white, background color will be sky blue, padding let's say 5 pixel, that's okay, and position absolute, width 99%, and after that let's put it in the bottom 0. Now it look like as a folder as a footer. So let me just copy this CSS from here to footer CSS file, and let's paste it, and let's just replace this element dot style with a dot footer, which is our class name. And now this is much better. So now let's call our service in the app component as well as in the footer, and we will start with the app component. We don't need this file, you can close it, and we need to import this file in our app.component.ts here. So let's import it. First of all, import something from service and user service, and let's put its name user data service, and we also need a constructor here, and inside constructor let's take a private parameter. It can be, let's say, user data or something, whatever you want to call it, and we can take any variable, let's say users. For a moment let's take it any, because in next video we will create the interface and I will tell you how you can create the data type for service. And now let's try to print it, console dot one, and let's use your user data here, and you will find that we are just getting the complete service here, and here you go, right? But inside it we have object and we have constructor and user. So for a moment what I'm just going to do here, I'm calling it user data dot users, and this is basically a function, and it will return all our 3 results. Here you can see that. So now let's assign these 3 results in our user. It should be users, right? Because there are the multiple users. Simply use here this dot users equal to user data dot user. And now what we can do here, we can just use this footer user in our app component for a loop. So again let's take a ul li, and with the li let's take dot star ng4 let user of users, which is our property, and we are just getting one by one user here. Even you can put here any name, let's say abc item data, whatever you want to put, right? And here let's say you are putting here users, so just put here user dot name. So if you have item here, then you have to put here item dot name, right? Now let's see, is it working fine? Here you can see that this is working fine. So let's say you want to get the age also, so let's simply put here user dot name, and here you can see that we got the, okay, so we have to just put here age, and we are getting here age also from our service. So now let's say in the footer you want to show the email address, then how you can do it? First thing is that we have to just copy all this stuff like users constructor and all in our footer.ts file like this, and now we have to import this user data. So let's import it, import something from service and user data, and here we can simply use here user data service. After that, what we have to do here, we can just simply use this loop inside our footer.component.html like this. And as you know, we don't need the email address and age, name and age, so let's simply put here name dot email address, and you will find that this is working fine. So with that way we can use the services in multiple places. Thank you so much for watching this video. Interview question. So I already told you that one interview question, which is our services are component dependent or model dependent. So the answer is no, they are not component dependent, or either they are not model dependent. They are totally independent, and we can use the same service in different modules and different component also. The second question is, can we call APIs in services? Definitely we can call APIs, and most of the time in service we basically call the APIs. Thank you so much for watching this video.